Hello, my friends. In this video, I will be sharing part 4 of our 4-part series on wealth, royalty, consciousness. Part 1, we covered the influence of our ancestors on our wealth. Part 2, we covered negative money karma and how that affects our wealth. Part 3, we covered wealth and the goddess Lakshmi, who is the goddess of wealth. And in this video, part 4, we are covering the power and the energy of giving to increase and expand our wealth consciousness. I will be posting the links to the other 3 parts in the description, and I encourage you to please like, comment, subscribe, ask questions, especially questions. If you have questions, ask the questions because I actually will answer. And if I get enough of the same question, then I can actually create a video for that. So here we go. Giving as a potent tool for wealth consciousness. And before I even go into the actual lesson, I want to read from this book called Working with the Law. I'm going to read a little bit, and I know this is the back, but this is Working with the Law by Raymond Hollowell. And he just says it so clearly. And by the way, working with the law is one of my spiritual tools and practices that I consistently use every day to work the wealth muscles. He says here, very simple, and we know this to be true, but let me say it again. We carefully select the best seed and plant it in the right place at the proper time in the most fertile soil. When we fully cooperate with the laws of the universe and the laws of wealth consciousness, we see that our money, our currency, is a seed, the seed of our time, the seed of our labors. It's a seed, and if we can see it as a seed, and we can see it as good, valuable seed, then it's important to realize and be consciously aware of where we are planting that seed, and to be very purposeful about where to plant it. So we want to select good seed. That's the first thing. The first law of farming and gardening and harvesting, and it's the cycle of nature, the cycles of life. And that's just like wealth consciousness. It's part of the cycle of life. Remember, wealth is our divine birthright. So we have this seed of currency, and we want to be sure that it's good seed, right? Good seed meaning, you worked for it, you attracted it, you magnetized it. Bad seed being like people getting their money illegally or where it hurts another person. So your seed is good seed coming from you, from your good soil, your good soul. The seed to be activated and to bring forth a strong, healthy, abundant harvest it has to be planted under ideal conditions and in an ideal place. So imagine that you are taking this really good seed. Let's say it's the seed from your last year's watermelon. You had a seeded, yummy, crispy, juicy, organic watermelon. And the seeds from that watermelon, you decide to save it so you could plant it, replant it, so you could have another harvest of yummy, delicious, juicy, crispy watermelon. That's what you do with the seed of your currency, your money. You're going to take that seed and to give it the best possible outcome and potential, you want to plant it in good, fertile soil. Fertile soil, where you know that under these ideal conditions of having the right soil, the right amount of sunlight, the right amount of water, you will expect, you have to expect a good harvest in time. And it's the same way with our money, our currency, and the seeds of our thought. So what does this have to do with wealth consciousness? Everything. Our consciousness is that soil. The consciousness of our soil, is it rich? Is it potent? Is it full of life? Is it the ideal conditions with the right nutrients to bring, to like nurture that seed so that it could bring forth a good, plentiful, bountiful harvest? Think about it. Giving is one of the most potent actions that we can execute, put into place, put a strategy. Giving will maximize your harvest. The act of giving, that seed, when you give it and into the right place, to the right person, to the right organization, will amplify the energy to bring forth a greater harvest. For instance, and you can do this. Some people think, well, I can't give because I don't have that much. Well, first of all, that's poverty consciousness. Or I can't give because I have to keep this for me for a rainy day. That's poverty consciousness. What do you mean I gotta give? If you're holding it back, that's poverty consciousness. And guess what? The seed, I'm going to give you a little tip here. Let's talk about that seed. If you are planting a garden, which you should be, I'm saying the word should, but it's important that we all have our own gardens so that we can have for ourselves, our family, an extra to give. We take care of ourselves instead of having to go to the grocery store all the time. And, the fear of food shortages, which I don't believe in, because the universe is abundance. There may be a block in the chain of food arriving to your grocery store, but if you have your own food grown in your own backyard or on your patio in your house, then you don't have to be worried and concerned about it. But let's talk about that seed a minute and let it be very purposeful. So there's a series called The Ringing Cedars. The Ringing Cedars. And I'll put that description in, I'll put the title of the book and the series in the description. And in that series, and it takes place in the northern part of Russia, and it's a true story of a woman who has lived in the wilderness almost all her life with these which has created this very supernatural ability she has to engage with nature. And in this book, it also talks about a community that takes the seed, they're self-sustainable, they take the seed and they speak to the seed, the intention of the seed. Seed, I see you being healthy and abundant, and you feed our family. And here's the other thing, and whatever needs to be healed and repaired within our bodies, do that now. Because the seed has DNA. Then you spit on it, put your saliva on it, because your saliva has the codes. Your saliva has your DNA codes. And you spit on it, and then when you're burying, when you're preparing the seed in the soil, you spit in the soil, and then you put that seed in, and you cover it, and you're also saying prayers about it. You're praying about the seed. You're putting that intention in. By the way, that high-sounding pitch sound is the cicadas, las chicharras here in Oaxaca. It's their season. They're looking for a mate, but they're also calling in the water so that the seeds can germinate. So take your seed, your money seed, or your natural seed, and program it. It must have an intention. It must know what its purpose is. And then you plant it into good soil. So what would that be regarding your money? What is good soil? Even if you don't have that much money. I've been there where I didn't have that much money. Even if you just have $5, there is no reason why you can't give. Because actually you need to give. You could take $1.11 and send it, give it. And I'm going to recommend that you give it to Tripura Foundation. It is the foundation that my teacher, Dr. Pillai, my guru, has established many years ago. And what it does, the money that goes there, the resources that go to that foundation, feeds, clothes, and educates children who would have no opportunity at all to change their life karma. They would have no opportunity at all to come out of extreme poverty. They would have no opportunity at all without this foundation to get an education, to stimulate their mind and their brains, to have clothing, self-esteem, and confidence. There are those who have already graduated from the schools established by Tripura Foundation, who have graduated and have become professionals. These are children in areas of India and other parts of the world who would have absolutely, including the U.S., absolutely no chance of realizing the maximum potential of their lives. What I also love about Tripura Foundation is that they take care of the elderly, because the elderly in India, if they already come from a poor area or circumstances, there's a lot of cultural circumstances and class systems. If the elderly, especially the elderly women, have no support, they literally live in abject poverty. It actually brings tears to my eyes thinking about it. So I give to Tripura Foundation organization to support the elderly, to support the children, because I already know that it's good soil, it's fertile soil. How do I know that? The graduates have gone through that program. And, I personally don't need to know it by facts and figures and statistics. I just know by the principles of the universe, that as I give, I receive. And where I sow, if I sow in good fertile soil, I will reap a harvest, a good harvest. I encourage you that even if you just have $5, even if you're bankrupt, even if you have a messy mess in your financial affairs, that you take a portion of your money, income, savings, whatever comes in, whatever comes through your hands, whatever goes through your account, whatever's in your account, and give it. The other thing I do with giving is I'm in Oaxaca, Mexico. And Oaxaca, Mexico is actually one of the poorest, it is actually considered the poorest state in Mexico. God sent me here. I'm here on a purpose. I have a mission here. And one of the reasons why it's one of the poorest states is because it has a high indigenous population, and this beautiful, rich, cultural, traditional population has been neglected, has been abused, has been stolen from. We know the story. It happens all over the world, including the U.S. And so it left the population vulnerable. Stolen lands. I just heard recently about lands being stolen again and again and again. Happens in the U.S. as well. And so with this condition, with this situation, with this vibration, I see elders, and I'm really touched by the lame, or if they don't have legs, a missing leg or limb, and the elderly women who are selling their things, their beautiful flowers coming down from the mountains, and they're sitting on the ground all day, maybe sometimes with their children, sometimes they're just elderly, and just, and they're selling something to receive a peso. One peso is not that much money. $1 equals 20 pesos in the USA. So what I do is I keep change in my pocket all the time. And I'm anytime I see these beautiful abuelas and abuelos and those who really can't get around that easily, but they're working, they're hustling, they're doing what they know to do to bring that money in. I give because it's actually good soil. It's actually good soil to give to the lame, to the poor. You just give, right? And especially if they're working, they're hustling, right? They're hustling. And so here we are, part 4, the final part of our part 4 series. Sounds like a tongue twister. Part 4 series of wealth consciousness. And I just conclude this series by saying, please give. Give. If you're having a hard time financially, and hard time financially is relative, right? I know millionaires who have hard times financially, right? I know, so it's all relative. Because it's our consciousness, it's our karma, a lot has to do with our ancestors, and a lot has to do with how we're giving and how we're cleaning up stuff, especially internally. So this last piece, and there's so many other parts, but these top 4, the ancestors, clearing up negative karma, giving to the goddess of wealth, Goddess Lakshmi, and other goddesses of wealth, and giving to the poor and the needy. And I'm recommending you send a donation to Tripura so that the work that that organization does through Dr. Pillai can continue on for perpetuity. I bless you as your soul prospers. I pray that you prosper as your soul prospers. I bless you. 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 And if you welcome extra support in this area of wealth consciousness, this is actually one of my areas of specialization, so I can encourage and empower and equip others into wealth consciousness. Because quite frankly, and I'm speaking to the women right now, when women bring wealth into their communities prosper. When people are empowered and have wealth consciousness, the most insidious disease in the world is destroyed. The most insidious disease in the world, in my opinion, is poverty. Wealth is our divine birthright. Everybody can be wealthy. And I thank you for watching. I thank you for listening. Please put a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, ask questions, share. And I'll be putting all the information that I mentioned in the description. And I bless you, I bless you, and I bless you. And so it is, and so it is.